interest in KDP. If not, then let me tell you, KDP is selling books on Amazon. And the program is called KDP. I don't even know why. Oh no, I do think I know. It's Kindle Publishing, something like that. Google it. Maybe I'll leave a link down below. I don't know. But I tried that as a side hustle. And today I want to tell you about my experience with that. And I did a couple other side hustles before. If you're interested in that and you have some patience with me, then go ahead and watch those videos that I posted the last couple weeks. But yes, selling books on Amazon, that was a thought I started almost 1.5 years ago. And I love writing. I really love reading. Like, first of all, I read at least 2 books a month. Actually, a little bit more. Sometimes, like really rarely, it's just 1 book a month. And then I feel like sad I didn't have enough time because I really love it. I love reading. I love picturing stories. It's not only stories. I'm also reading finance books, which to me are super interesting. I don't know. I'm probably pretty alone with that opinion. I guess, or I see when talking to friends and family, they're like, "What? And you're not falling asleep?" Like, no, it's interesting to me. So, or also books about French language, because I'm trying to learn the language better and better because I have some friends in France, which sounds funny thinking about it, saying it like that. But yeah, I'm reading a lot and I love writing. I have my journey here that reminds me all the time that my thoughts are precious to me and your thoughts should be precious to you, and in a way of love yourself enough to write about it. You know what I mean? I don't know if it makes sense to you. If yes, leave a comment. If no, I'm sorry. But yeah, I love reading, I love writing, and I somehow have a drive to try new things. So all the side hustles I did before, maybe you checked them out or not, but there were a lot of online stuff, and before that there were a lot of things like working for small companies next to my 9 to 5. But one day, after again I seemed to show the algorithm on different kind of pages like Facebook, YouTube, and Google that I have interest to write my own book. And I was like, okay, how do I want to do that? And there are so many great YouTubers out there that are teaching you a lot how they did it, and I forgot their names, so I'm sorry, but they're really nice how they did it. One was a kind of Asian man, and he really had great recommendations, and one was a woman with a British accent that I forgot. If you know those both, leave it in the comments below. But some of those tips were not for a book with a story. Some were like kids coloring books and stuff like that, like different things. I was like, kids coloring books, that sounds super interesting. I'm a teacher too, I like educational stuff, so I was like, okay, maybe that. But I did not even start that because I was like, this just doesn't resonate with me, and I don't know, I just didn't do it. And I ended up that I want to write a finance book. Actually, that was the first thought. But then, you know how the whole brainstorming thing works, you know what I mean? Like, you have a lot of different whatever puzzles, and then you're thinking about a bigger picture. Back at that time, my older son, like my oldest son, he's 17 now, and he was in an age, everyone who has a teen at home, I don't even have to talk further, but you know, where we all were also like an age where you're thinking about life and what you want to accomplish, and you have so big dreams, and at the same time you're not sure that anything is going to ever work out for you, like all at the same time, right? And I was like, you know what, if it comes to finances, I want to be able to give him, not only with me telling him, but also maybe compromise it in a book, and everyone else in that age group, how to start handling money. And back at the time, I read a book that was called A Dog Called Money, which is very funny. The book is not funny, the book is very great. The title is funny. It's from Bodo Shaver, which is a German author, but the book is also available in English. And it's a very, very nice book, just to mention it. It's a book about a girl finding a dog, and the dog can speak to only her. And that dog somehow teaches her valuable things about money. I don't know, it was so nice to read this book, and I gave it also my 12-year-old to read it, and it did make his choices better if it came to how I am using my pocket money. But long story short, I decided to want to write a book for not only teens, but people on the beginning of their journey, or even older and maybe never really put a thought on it. Things like what kind of choices you have, where you want to live, like an apartment, a house, when you want to save on a house, do you want to go in debt for it, do you want to travel instead? But how do you manage all those thoughts with the right mindset of how to use your money for that? You know what I mean? Like budgeting tips, if you're really, really having a bad time money-wise, how you can overcome that and how you can save up even harder if you have to, because I went through phases in my life where I really had to save up really, really, really a lot, and did a lot of, maybe I should one time go through a list of the most craziest things I did to save up money, but it worked out. And I want to write a book for that, like as a starter beginning to handle money. And it is actually a book, like the book, I read it in a way that it's picking you up from the first thoughts about moving out, like how to find maybe your own home, how to, even if you're a low budget, how to come up with good furniture or stuff like that, all the way to starting your first investments. Like really not just saving up your money and put it under the pillow because inflation is going to eat it up, right? So all that spectrum I wanted to have in that one book. And if you're asking yourself, and if you're familiar by now, a lot of people are, with ChatGPT, and you're asking yourself if I used it, the answer is yes, I did use it, especially for the chapters, because I was like, okay, I have a lot of ideas what I want to have in the book, but I was like, what else can I put in that? So I asked ChatGPT for more titles of chapters, like what else could be interested for that people. So for the writing itself, I didn't use it so much, because if you ever tried ChatGPT a lot and you're like first starting out, you're like, wow, thrilled, what cool things it can have, and you can type anything inside and it gives you answers, it's so cool. And I don't say it's not, but there is one component that's super, super missing out, and that's the emotional side. So I couldn't use it for the book itself. There is no, I want to have a storytelling in it. I wanted to have a kind of humor that accesses more to younger people. Like all that was not possible with ChatGPT's help, but the chapters, names of chapters was really practical. I really had some actually added chapters because of ChatGPT and really good recommendations of it. So I did write the book, and it was my first book. And I think I'm going to do another one day, but not now, because just the process of writing was really, I don't know, it gives me inspiration. It gives me the feeling of leaving something behind that can help my kids and others, like my teens, but also other people. So it was really nice. And the book's called The Perfect Start, because you're starting your life, you know what I mean? Like I explained. So I did publish it, I think the end of last year, so it's not very long that I published it. And let me tell you, I'm not very familiar so much with Canva, like other than just using it maybe for YouTube thumbnails. But making a Canva cover for the book was so hard, and I asked my sister for help there, because she's a more creative one. And then having something that I liked, it just did not work out to give in the KDP program as I wanted to upload it. So I had to make it totally different and give it a yellow, because I chose yellow, but I could have just any other color, but I had to give it a frame that I didn't actually want it to have in the first place. So it's different than I wanted that to look, but it's not bad. And it's still a little bit like I wanted it to look. Whatever, like I managed to put that book out in public. And before I did that, I actually gave it my sister to read, my mom to read, because she's really good with like grammar stuff, like a lot of things that I maybe overlook by fast typing out my thoughts. So she read it too, and then I gave it to a friend that actually studied literacy. So after all those 3 people gave me their opinions and wrote down on each page what they think I should have done different or mistakes I did, whatever, I published the book. And I published the book, and that's it. Like that's where I'm standing right now with that book. And if you've ever tried something like that, please let me know in the comments below. But it was a journey that took me a year. Like it took me a half a year to write it. It took my mom, my sister, and my friend to read it. Obviously, a couple months. And it took me time to rework on it till it's finally done. And it took me time to make that cover, which the cover took me like 4 days. Because I, changed things up till I liked it, whatever. Now it's published. And if you're asking yourself if it brought me a lot of money in, or a lot of people wrote it and they all love it, no. Nobody yet bought it. I don't know if I put it right on publish it when I published it. That's the first thing I have to check. Double check it, I think. And the other thing is, you know how it is, like we humans tend to buy or do things because other people do. That's why customer recommendations are so important for others. So what I did is I decided to buy myself 5 books, because as the one that you wrote it, as the author, you can buy it cheaper, which I did. I buy 5 of them. I'm still waiting for them to arrive in the mailbox, but as soon as they do, I want to give it to 5 other friends that never had the book in their hand and ask them for an honest recommendation. And after they did that, I'll probably give it 5 other people. So I want to have at least 10, 20 honest recommendations if they liked it. If not, honestly tell why or whatever. So this is still actually in progress. So I cannot say if that in the long run is going to work out for me or not. But this is a side hustle that I tried. And you know what's the most exciting part of the whole thing? Like for me personally, it is that my sister, the one that I had an online shop with, if you watched the other video before, you will know what I'm talking about. She's the creative one of us. And she, in the journey of me writing my book, she decided on a certain point last year that she wanted to write a book too. And she did, and she finally finished it. And I was the first one to read it, and I'm so thrilled. It's totally different than my book, because she's very, she's more the creative fantasy person. So it's a fantasy book. And I am so thrilled. I love her book. It's so different to mine. Like mine is a little bit more serious for sure. Mine is like really rational and tips for life kind of book. And hers is like a fantasy, really cool world come together, stuff like that, magic happens. Like it's really, really great. And I love it, obviously. But I'm actually just thrilled that much because my thought of doing it inspired her to do it. And I think that's even the greater win in the whole situation, because I know her book is really her baby. It's really great that she did it, and I'm so proud of her. So yeah, the whole journey for me and having that side hustle of writing my own book, selling it on KDP is still ongoing. So I'm going to update you when there is something new about it. But next time we see each other, I want to talk about a new side hustle that I started right next to the book thing last year, and I want to tell you my ups and downs there. So stay tuned if you're interested, and if you haven't already, I would be really, really thrilled if you subscribe and leave a like, and thumbs up to you that you made it till here, because I know my way of making YouTube videos is probably not the one that's right now the most popular, because it's so raw and just me as I am. But if you're still here, you're probably a person who resonates with me in my bubble of how I am. Maybe you're similar, maybe you're just I don't know why you're staying so long, but if you stay so long, you gotta resonate in some way with me. So I'm happy to have you here.